All right.
You should sit up.
Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, reporting live from my little cabin in the woods called Murphy's Law. And I'm here at Holly Lake Ranch, Texas. But I have the world famous, hairdresser, barber to the stars, Jim Markham here, reporting in from Kona, Hawaii. So he had to get up before. Do they have chickens in Hawaii, Jim? They do? Okay. Well, you've gotten up before the chickens. And I just want to tell you that as being a hairdresser and having a hair salon bookstore, and I've been licensed since 1977, which tells my age, and I'd already been to college. I have just been obsessed with the success that Jim has had with his beauty companies and all the things that he's done coming from a very small place in New Mexico. So I'm going to turn the program over to you, and I'm going to let you talk about your story because it's all about the story, Jim. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kathy. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and such distinguished guests. While it's dark right here at where I am, you can see behind me, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's really a thrill to be here with you and talk to you about the past.
Yay. I'm so excited. Well, let's hear, how did this all begin?
Well, I started, as a poor boy with an alcoholic mom in New Mexico. And eventually I ended up being married at 15. Mom said, you got to make a living. So why don't you go to barber school? She said, Uncle Clarence always did good as a barber. I said, okay, since I really didn't have anything to do anyway. So I went to school, became a barber, started cutting hair and became quite good at it and started entering competitions. And back then they used to have contests where you'd cut the hair, style of hair, and get graded. As we were one of the founders of men's hairstyling, we put them on. I entered, I did it myself. I became a silver medal winner in the hair Olympics cutting hair. But I went on, became quite good at it, started entering competitions. And I read in Playboy that Jay Sebring, he was a Hollywood hairstylist. He's really the first one, was charging $50 a haircut. And I was charging $5. And I thought, how in the world could he do that and make so much more money than me? I called him up and I said, Jay, I was surprised he took my call, but I called him up. I said, Jay, I want to learn what you know about cutting hair to get $50 a haircut. I said, if you don't have the best technique, we'll use mine. He said, oh, you're pretty cocky, you're pretty full of yourself. He said, why don't you come out here, let's cut some hair. So I flew to California and we cut a half of Van Johnson's hair. He cut one half, I cut the other. And we knew immediately that his side was better than my razor side, the shear side was better. And I knew I had a lot to learn from him. So I opened up a Sebring franchise in New Mexico and started distributing products to 4 states, Colorado, Texas, New Mexico, and Utah. And was doing quite well when Jay was killed with Sharon Tate in the Manson murders in 1969. And I was thrust into his world and his shoes. I took over his car, took over his house, I took over his business. I took over his celebrity clientele, which included Paul Newman, Johnny Carson, Steve McQueen, Frank Sinatra. And it was quite a trip. Slept for a small town boy like me from New Mexico, and it was difficult, but I did it. And I worked in, and I managed to survive. But anyway, going forward, I fell into a lawsuit and started another company called Markham Products. Markham Products was another men's line. I had that for 8 years and started another company called ABBA Pure and Natural, and that did really well. I think it was 7 or 8 years later, I started another company called Pureology Serious Color Care, and that was a rocket ship. That thing just went to the moon, and it did it quickly. It did it in 6 months. I was profitable, and I actually learned to be a good businessman, which is what I was trying to do. In the beginning, trying to be a good hairstylist. I had to be a good businessman and know marketing and education and operations and legal. So I got really quite good at that and tried to learn from the very best. And then lastly, I did a company called Colorproof and Colorproof. We recently sold last year, and we've been really writing a book and doing podcasts and promoting the book, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I have to show everybody right now. I'm going to turn this. Can you all see Big Lucky? This is a fabulous read, you all. It's serial entrepreneur Jim Markham's secrets formula for success. I can't go on enough about it. And for everybody who goes to our Pulpwood Queen bookshop, I've got, I'm going to give a copy for everybody who makes $100 purchase. And I'm going to give away some copies today for those who, readers who are in my book club that make comments and come on board and talk to Jim. So if you want a book, you better talk to Jim in here in a little bit. But first, a few more questions. Jim, you've had, I mean, Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward were, oh, I mean, I just adored them. I named a cat Paul Newman. I mean, and then when Joanne Woodward, who lives next to one of my authors up in Connecticut, heard that I named a cat Paul Newman, she told Pearl Boyle, my friend, that why did she better name her next one Joanne Woodward. And so, you know, when next cat's going to be Joanne. So, but anyway, your story is inspiring because you came from this little town. What was the name of the town in New Mexico?
Farmington, New Mexico.
Farmington. I know exactly where that is. And I came from an even smaller town in Kansas, and I had big dreams, but I haven't accomplished nearly as much as you have. But for anybody in business, this is going to be a great, great read. So tell us some more about, you know, share more of your life. I mean, how in the world did you get to Hawaii?
Wow, that was a good question. We started coming here about 15 years ago. A friend said, "Why don't you come use our house?" And we did, and we love the place. Where it's at Four Seasons, Hualalai, near Kaliakona, near the airport actually. And we started coming here, then we started coming back, and we started eventually saying, let's buy a house. And so we ended up building a house, and we loved the lifestyle of living here in the wintertime and living in California in the summertime. So that's what we've been striving to do, although with the coronavirus, you know, we've gotten kind of stuck here. So, and it's nice. It's nice. I mean, I like the energy of a bigger city, more things happening, but I love it here as well.
Well, I mean, I went to Hawaii at 19 with my fellow hairdressers who I work for in Lawrence, Kansas, and we were there 2 weeks. And I never had so much fun in my life. And the history of Hawaii is fascinating. Went to Pearl Harbor and back. Remember Wide World of Sports when they'd have the surfing championships?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I was a big Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello fan, so I had to see that. And I've got a great story about getting hit by a gigantic 2-story wave that I will have to tell in a book one day because it's so embarrassing. But what happened? But anyway, I loved Hawaii. My parents used to go there, and boy, we'd love to come back and visit you, wouldn't we,
Anytime.
Pulpwood Queens, Stimmer guys? So
Anytime.
anytime. So the beauty industry, you know, you sold how many companies?
5.
5. Wow. And who were some of the people that bought them? Was it bigger
companies that wanted to, you know, this is kind of the way it is. You know, bigger companies don't pioneer much. Bigger companies buy other companies that had pioneered something that they can't do, and then they add it into their mix, and that they add on profits, and the founders usually walk away with some money, and they walk away with a company that's thriving in a niche that they don't presently have. So that's kind of what, you know, one company buy another company to expand themselves. I had Redken was the one that bought L'Oreal bought Pureology, and that was a big deal.
That was
actually.
a wonder. I was a Redken salon for years. They sponsored my hairball until they got bought out by L'Oreal, and then ta-da, goodbye. I know I lost them forever. But I love Pureology because the smell was so natural, and you know, I love the patchoulis and all. I loved that product, and I sold a ton of it.
we worked real hard on making the essence, the aromatherapy essence, really pleasing. And we spent a lot of time on the aromas, and we made sure that they were as carcinogen free as possible, and didn't have, God, I can't even think of the name of allergens.
Yes.
Fragrances have allergens, and we try to keep our allergens down to a minimum, to 0 if possible. So that was part of our concept, is make fragrances safe, no allergens, because allergens is, if anybody breaks out, it's from the fragrance.
Kathy,
Well-
can I ask Jim a question?
Sure.
I actually, this is Betty Koval. I actually worked at the corporate office in for Fantastic Sam's for a couple of years as an HR person, and we had a training area there in Memphis, and we had a lot of known cosmetologists come in across the country, which was really great to watch them. But what I found, and what was explained to me, is when a larger company buys a smaller one and they take their product, it's much more advantageous to them cost-wise, because they don't have to expend for that development, that product development. Is that what you found in by selling?
I always was able to develop products at a much less expense than bigger companies. One of my expertise is getting vendors that really want to work with me and work out a relationship and get pricing. And so that's one of the things I did. So by offering what I developed, I had a lot of value. I think their value mostly is not from buying it cheaper, but buying something they don't even have. And so you buy, like, let's say you're in, let's say you're in women's hair color, and you want to add men's hair shine. That's another category. So you can't grow it; you have to buy it, and then your profits and your sales, that adds to their profits and sales, and they can't do it anyway. So they always have to buy.
Cool.
Thank you.
What is the, in your lifetime of doing hair, is there anything that stands out as just kind of like one of those aha moments when you everything just came together and clicked? Can you think of one instance, or maybe several, Jim?
Well, I can tell you, color Pureology just clicked from day one. We started with just a concept. We wanted to do something special, but really Pureology started with a phone call. And Cheryl had a friend named Carrie, and she had ovarian cancer, and she called me up, and she said, "Jim, you got to make me a shampoo that's for my cancer." My oncologist got a list of the ingredients and says I can't use any of these ingredients. She sent me the list, and to my surprise, Abba didn't have but 3 products that she could use. So here I've been developing natural products, and come to find out natural is not necessarily better than synthetic, but it needs to have the carcinogens taken out. It needs to have a lot of the suspect ingredients taken out. And so we started working on the first sulfate-free shampoo with Pureology, and we was doing it for her mostly, but we did notice that it was provided a cleaner, high lather, quick rinse, and it was safe. And so she was really thankful. We got her using her product, and Carrie passed on, and we started looking around. We said, this is keeping color in longer. So to our surprise, and we said, okay, maybe we should go into color. Color was booming back then. 20-30% of every company was growing. And we kept looking around and said, what are we missing here? This is not, it looks too easy, really, And L'Oreal had a product called Color Vive, and they were doing quite well with it. And years later, when we sold to them, we said, how come you guys didn't come up with a product when we did? We were surprised you didn't. They said, you know what, we just missed it. So they missed it, and we went on and developed special containers, special colors, special name. Pureology was really a good name, and some unique selling positions like longer lasting hair color guaranteed on the back of every bottle. We had anti-fade on the front, which indicated that it wouldn't fade. So we had it set up so they'd look at the front, they'd say Pureology anti-fade complex. They turned it over and it'd say longer lasting hair color guaranteed. They'd smell the product, and if they liked it, they bought it.
Oh.
It's a pretty easy close. We also said at different points, we said, look, it's pretty easy to sell. Do you want to buy products that come from hooves, hides, and animal organ, or from plants, flowers, and berries? So the choice is pretty easy. So we developed sales techniques and truthful techniques, but they pointed out the benefits, and that helped a lot. So we just did a better job.
And so you're the first person to develop sulfate-free shampoo?
Yes, first.
You guys, if you don't know what that means, it means that your color is going to last way longer and you don't have to get it done as often. That was the biggest life changer because I was cut and color person. I did cut and color, Redken, and so Pureology was fantastic for me. And it lathered, which I love, but the smell. If you could bottle that as a perfume, I would have wore it because I just love the botanical type smell. So fabulous product. You just got a so what are you doing? What are you up to now? What are you doing?
Well, we worked on the book. We've had the second edition. We tweaked it a little bit. We put a new cover on it. And honestly, this year, the last year and a half, I've been promoting the book. I've been doing a lot of podcasts, interviews, and that's been fun. And I keep trying to perfect my skills and presenting it and telling the story. And that's kind of what we're working on. We're in Hawaii. We're kind of settled down here and doing a few podcasts, around the country.
I have to say, because I'm always looking for that next great product. Are you working on are you going to start a new line of anything?
Well, it's the question's out. The question's out. We didn't think we were going to, and then I thought, well, maybe we should. My wife keeps saying no, but so I would like to develop a different shampoo. I think there's room for a different shampoo that I came up with some ingredients that's totally different than what's being used now. We went from sulfates, and Breck did that in 1950, and then we went sulfate free, which I did, and then I think there's another evolution of ingredients that would not be sulfate free, would be a superior mousetrap. Technology is growing so much, and there's always room for one more better mousetrap.
That's right. I'll tell you, Jim, if you came out with a fragrance called Markham that smelled like that Pureology, I would buy a case load of it because it is. I miss it. I haven't seen it around here at all anymore. Did they absorb it or change the labeling, or where can you get it?
You get a Redken on Colorproof and Pureology on Amazon. They sold in the hair salons. They're worldwide. We had 35 trademarks, and as soon as they went worldwide with it. So it's a very big brand.
Good to know. It's
quite well. Yeah. Amazon's probably the best place to get it.
Well, I haven't been to the beauty supply places in so long because of COVID. I've been in this little cabin, and how long have you been out there in Hawaii?
We came out for 2 weeks a couple of years ago and ended up staying 15 months because of COVID. And we ended up selling our house in Newport and buying another house, and we're remodeling that now. So we're stuck here for about another 6 or 8 months. But while we remodel the other house in Newport. But it's nice. It's nice. I like going back and forth.
What a place to be stuck in, huh, Kathy?
I'd say I could be stuck there. It's the best weather in the world. And you know what I love about Hawaii? I didn't see any insects except for one. I remember
you don't know Hawaii.
I never saw any insects, but I remember being in Honolulu. They have a big marketplace, and I was spinning around a deal of earrings of coral, and inside the case was a bug this big. I mean, it was the biggest bug. I said, well, they don't have bugs, but when they get them, they are the biggest bug. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. It was so crazy. So do you see much bugs or mosquitoes or?
My wife sees a lot of mosquitoes. They eat her up. They don't really bother me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Must be sweeter than you.
I don't know. I know Janet Oakley lived in Hawaii.
I live in
and,
Hawaii, so I got in late. So what island are you on?
Big Island.
You're on the, oh, I love the Big Island. Yeah, I lived in Hilo. My oldest son was born there. I'm a UH Manoa grad. So I went out to Hawaii on a one-way ticket in '69, so it shows my age. But I didn't know anything other than maybe it had 2 islands, because mostly I watched Hawaii Five-0. That's what I knew. I ended up getting a degree in weaving there. I worked for Mission Houses Museum in Honolulu. That got me into museum work. And then my husband got a job down on the Big Island. I love the Big Island. My heart is in the Big Island. So I helped work with the Volcano Arts Center when it was just a baby, because it's really it's the second version of Volcano House. A lot of people don't know that. So I've written some mysteries there, which were a lot of fun, and I want to go back. I haven't been back in a couple of years.
The Pulpwood Queens need to take a trip to Hawaii. Oh God, let COVID go away. Let's all pray. Okay. So anyway, Jim, what is what is something that we haven't discussed that you just want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking one of the things that I often talk about and gets mentioned is the celebrities that I cut and the creative side of my abilities. But I believe, well, I know I've won more awards for business than I have for creative, and I won a lot creatively. But then I won Entrepreneur of the Year for Ernst & Young, which is a big company.
Yeah, I know.
Against everybody, not just beauty companies. And you have to have a company that's grown at least 20% per year for 5 years. And you have to increase your EBITDA 20% for 5 years to qualify. And we ended up winning that with ABBA. Also won,
Purology.
I'm sorry, not ABBA, with Purology. And we won Entrepreneur of the Year with Orange County. We won Entrepreneur of the Year with ICMAD, that's a independent cosmetics manufacturer. We won that 3 times. So the business side that I really didn't have education in, I learned on the job training, but I made it a point to get the best people in each category. And I learned how to do what I needed to do. In over 5 companies, I got quite good at business with negotiating, with distribution and contracts. And that's what I offer in the book, is a bird's eye shot at hopefully becoming more successful with a roadmap of where you go up and you come down. And most people, when they go down, sometimes they kind of quit. So you just can't quit. You got to keep going. You got to realize that God made you to win. You are a winner. You've got everything you need to win. And if you just work like hell, you can succeed, but you can't expect it. You have to work for it. And that's one of the messages I try to convey. And I use several illustrations of how I went down and fell down and got back up and dusted myself off and come back and made it. And I think some of the events and things that happen to me is important to entrepreneurs and people in life that need to know that they are made to win and they can come back and they can win.
There's not one person that I've ever followed that I admire that hasn't said what you said. And what we need young people to know today is that if you want to be successful, don't worry about the money. You just need to work as hard as you can and never give up. And Dolly Parton, Shah Rukh Khan, he's an Indian, the biggest film star in the world. I look to the people that inspire me to make me a better person. And you're one of them, Jim. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'm going to open it up now to anybody who would like to ask a question. So I'm going to gallery view. And I want, yes, Betty.
I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to tell Jim. I have 2 grandsons graduating from college this.
Oh, she's froze.
Uh-oh.
Are you there, Betty?
And then, pardon me?
You froze for a second. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Anyway, and then I have one that is going into he's doing in structural engineering, and his goal is he wants to build and own properties. And so I'm getting him one of those books too, because they are all
Yay!
workers. I think this is advantageous to any college graduate or high school graduate that goes into a trade.
In
What a
fact,
great
this would be
roadmap.
a great graduation gift. I'm
That's
serious.
that's what I'm saying. It will be a great graduation gift.
So
well,
anybody else want to speak up? Yes,
I
Mandy
do.
Haynes.
So, Jim,
yes.
what would you tell your 15-year-old self if you could go back? I mean, do you,
So,
I got married at 15 too. I was married for 11 years to my first husband. Yeah. And
Wow.
yeah. So I just love, anytime I hear that, my ears are like, what? I mean, and look at you, because people have perceived, they put you in a different, they don't realize that not all, people that are teenage parents actually do well.
Well, I always did well, even starting out at 15 and was married and was cutting hair at 16 and doing quite well for that period. But if I had it to do, getting married, by the way, was one of the best things that happened to me, because I was getting in a lot of trouble. And so getting married gave me a family, gave me a daughter, gave me a home, and then I went to barber school, I had a job. So that was the best thing that would have happened for me. But in any other circumstance, I'd say, don't do it. Wait until you're 25, maybe, But well, I understand your situation very well. It's an interesting situation. It can be very positive too. You just have to make it what it is. And if you get lemons, turn it into lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say the same thing, that, people would, when they found it, people would say, like, I worked at Vanderbilt for 26 years, and people would say to me, Mandy, why don't you have kids? You'd be a great mother. And I'm like, I have a son in college. And it's like, I am a great mother, it's like, this didn't fit, but but I say that all the time. Having Justin was the best thing that happened to my life. Not getting married. Getting married wasn't, it was not a good marriage, but having my son was, it was true. Exactly. When I tell people that, then I'm always like, but don't get pregnant at 15. Like, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying, for me,
Yeah, no, I agree.
regrets.
It worked for me too.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave me something to just like what you said, he was my family. I had responsibilities, and so I cannot wait to read the book.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
That's awesome. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to ask Jim? Raise your hand so I can see you, or speak up. Hello. We got a lot of people here. Somebody's got to have a question. Well, I always have a lot of questions for Jim. Anybody? Okay.
well, I have a question,
Yes.
Betty. Okay, so your first product, how did you decide to do your first product?
Well, when we started men's hairstyling, if all the men would wash their hair once every 2 weeks or every week to two, and they combed it back and they put Real Cream or Vitalis on their hair.
Yeah.
So we came along and told them that they need to shampoo their hair daily. Of course, if they shampooed it daily, they couldn't comb it. So we cut the hair the way it grows, to the right side or the left side. Nobody's hair grows back. And we gave them a shampoo and conditioner that they could wash their hair, and it fell the way it grew, and it was cut that way. So we gave them a way to manage hair on a daily basis. So we needed product. So we said shampoo and conditioner was the first thing we did, and we had like a setting lotion, and we just swept the country with that. That idea just swept the country. So we needed a product to do what we was trying to do. Would other shampoos work? Yeah, we had a better one, but it would have worked. So we started developing based on what they need to make their hair look better. And we always cut the hair, whether it's men or women, and made their hair look the best it could be. And then we got a product, whether it's hairspray or whatever, to make the hair look much better. So that's how we based our product, is on their need, and we've got products that perform.
Cool.
I know, Jim, my father had hair like Paul Newman, only he was brunette, and he used to use Brill cream. Remember Brill cream?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
the most
my
popular
God, that
product.
greasy stuff. And thank God you came along, because but his beauty routine was just washing it with bar soap and running Brill cream through it. Can you imagine? It's
Yeah,
terrible.
that's the way it was.
Yep.
It was until I graduated from beauty school, and then I changed that right away. So and he had hair all the way until he passed away in his 80s. So I had beautiful hair. But you had told me before that when you cut his hair, I used to watch Paul Newman on Johnny Carson and stuff, and he had kind of really different kind of hair. It looked like it had different textures. Some of it was straight, some of it was. That for me is always a challenge, to cut somebody's hair when they don't have the same texture all the way through. Was his hair that way? I forgot.
Yeah, it was. It was a little curly on the top, and straight, and on the sides, and his hair grew to the left side, but he always wanted to grow it to the right. He didn't want to do it the way it grew. He said, "I've been doing it all my life." Paul was such an amazing guy. Him and Joanne Woodward as well. I know on one occasion I was cutting his hair in his bathroom in Beverly Hills, and we're right in the middle of it. Your hair all over, and Joanne walks in the front door, and Paul jumps up out of the chair and says, "Hello, lovely lady." And he gives her a kiss on the cheek, and I'm looking at this guy, and I said, "Wow, this super sex symbol of the world does this for his wife. He's that charming. What must a mere mortal like me have to do?" And it was so impressive to see his interaction with his wife and how respectful he was. Paul taught me a lot of things, which I put in my book about. He taught me how to get the best wine, whether it's a first date lady or whether it's a second date lady or whether it's a real special date lady. Here's the wine. And he would go through that. He was really a connoisseur. And I learned a lot from Paul Newman. He really treated me good.
Right. That's really, I love the stories, because, I've gotten to do a few celebrities since I've been a hairdresser, like Joan Rivers. And I used to be called to go to Shreveport to do the stars that were performing, like the B-52s or the Go-Go's or whoever. And it was just always interesting, but they're just like, they're just like you and me. I got to do Art Garfunkel's hair, and that
cool.
was a trip,
Oh, wow.
man, and help him with his clothes. And then at the end of it, he got his guitar out and he sang to me. And
How
his
nice.
band was just like going, I don't even remember what he sang, because I was such in shock. But what a great, it's fun, but they were just it was a lot of fun for me to do those when I had my shop and stuff. So,
Yeah, I
and
enjoyed.
Joan Rivers was the nicest person in the world in person. She was lovely, lovely. Yeah.
She was good.
Yeah, she was
I
really.
enjoyed the celebrities. I did that mostly through the 70s, and then through the 80s and 90s, I fell into the role of being a businessman and putting together companies and running and developing sales forces and developing strategies for having agreements and operations, how to operate more efficiently with contract manufacturers, farming out your warehousing. I developed a technique that's really good, a lot more effective. So we could manufacture products cheaper than big companies, and we could warehouse, and our operations was much less. So our EBITDA was much greater than companies our normal size. With Pureology, we had close to a 50% EBITDA. And that was amazing. And L'Oreal wanted part of that. So, that was something that I learned. I didn't learn it from anybody. I just kind of figured it out as I went. So I put all that in my book. I go through how entrepreneurs should and be able to be more efficiently and make more money by following some of the steps that I did, the ups and downs that I had, and go on.
Would you have any advice? Mandy Haynes is my executive director and my my team, Robert Weltney. Would you have any advice, marketing advice for the Pulpwood Queens? Do you think we're doing a good job, Jim?
You guys are doing wonderful. You know, I really love your enthusiasm. You're all in it,
Yeah,
100%.
I'm in it.
And it shows. It shows. I think that you can't replace, and it's critical to have passion, have dedication, have consistency, and your positioning is good. You know, most companies usually can have a better positioning. Like, for example, with Pureology, it was like for longer lasting hair color guarantee to color protect the hair. You know, like I think it's Domino's, faster pizza in 30 less or 30 minutes, or it's free. Developing a unique sales position is really critical. I think you guys got a good one, but that's always what I was trying to do, is make it different, make it special. With Abba, it was like pure and natural products. It's a vegan, organic, and then with and so forth with all the rest of them for men, for women. I went to women's hair after men because it was more lucrative. The women buy 80% of all the products. So I didn't want the 20%. I wanted the 80%. So we started women. That was much more productive for us.
I wish I had all the money I've spent on beauty products in the years. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Well, thank you. You know, that's always good to hear. But you know, it's always nice to figure out how to make a company profitable.
Yes.
Oh, she went mute.
I accidentally, Kathy asked to unmute. Unmute yourself, Kathy.
I don't know how it went to mute. Okay.
I moved my cursor to let someone in and accidentally hit you.
Oh, that's okay. It's
Sorry about
okay.
that.
No, but I've always felt that success is only achieved through hard work and doing something you're passionate about. And I'm never worried about the money. I haven't, and I need to now because I'm getting old. You know, being on Social Security is a big wide awake moment, because, you know, how people live on Social Security, I have no idea. I just have no idea. So
Kathy,
you're very inspiring to me. I'm going to reread your book, and I'm going to use it as my future Bible.
Janet wants to ask a question.
Yes,
Sure.
Janet.
Yeah, Jim, because a lot of us are getting of a certain age, I started getting extremely dry hair to the point it was pulling out. And I finally did a little bit of research and found out it was my high blood pressure medicine doing it. So I want to know, you know, I'm really glad my doctor listened to me, because we changed and the moisture's come back. But I wonder if there's, you know, little tips on you're not having a lot of glunk in your hair. I'm now acting healthy, it's shining, you know, but I wonder if there's good products, you know, for when you're older, because your hair is different when you're older.
You know, one of our positioning statements for color proof as well as Pureology is they use for women over 40, because the hair changes. As you know, it gets thinner. Women tend to lose more hair than men, and they lose hair throughout the top, the whole top, whereas men will lose it in the forehead and then the back. Yeah, I would say that either Pureology or color proof would be a lot better choice, just because it's milder, it's gentler, it has less allergens, it has more natural fragrances. When I say more natural, what that means is it's as natural as it can be, but in order to get that aroma that's really beautiful, you might have to add some synthetic. More importantly, though, is you want allergen free, as opposed to a lot of natural ingredients are full of allergens, 50 allergens. So that kind of thing is what we did pretty well, and I perfected that with both companies. And then you should have a shampoo brush that when you wash your hair, don't pull your hair out, but, you know, scrub your scalp. And what that does is stimulates the circulation, removes the dead skin and out of the follicle. And between the increasing stimulation, blood, and cleaning it out is really important. And then using a mild product and keeping the scalp clean, stimulated, is one of the best things you can do for your hair. And that was a very important concept for men and women.
Yeah, I was really freaking out because I was getting kind of bald in a little spot. So my skin doctor gave me something that will clear it up, more of a medicine, but it's a lot better. But you're talking about those little rubber ones that has the,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like
I
that's-
remember those from a little girl. I think my dad had one in the
My
We-
mother had one.
we sold tons of those, and originally they were made for men, but we
Oh.
made men, and we also got one for Colorproof has one for women that's really good.
I'm gonna get me one.
I'll have
Yeah.
to get one.
I
yeah.
have one question about white hair. I've gone all white because I
Yeah.
got tired of coloring.
I don't
Great.
color.
And now it is coarser. It feels coarser. Is that normal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty normal. It gets
Okay.
coarser. The gray hair is coarser than the other hair. And you got to deal with it a little different. It's, my hair is the same way. In the back of my hair, it used to lay down real good. Now as I've gotten older, it wants to stick up.
Yes, I've decided I've quit fighting with it. Part of it goes curly, part of it lay straight. I just quit fighting with it.
I think going with it is probably a better idea,
It really is.
got pretty hair.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
It is
you.
pretty.
does.
Yeah, it is pretty.
What advice to men and women whose hair goes white and their scalp turns pink? You know how,
Oh,
they
That's
lose
there
the
you go.
color in their scalp, so it looks like their hair's missing. It goes real pink. Is there any advice for that?
That's a good one. That's a good question, because there are products that you can spray the scalp. I'm trying to think what the name of one of them was, but
Redken makes one.
what, Cheryl?
Redken makes one.
Oh, Cheryl's telling me Topic is one
Okay.
that, so if you got say black hair and you color it black and the scalp is like shiny, you see the skin, they'll spray the top and it just looks beautiful. It does a
It
great job.
does. Yeah.
Brown hair, different hair. And that Topic is one. I nearly came out with one, and for some reason I didn't do it. I mean, when you're in business, you're always going to come up with the next greatest thing, because in the beauty business, it's a what's new business. Everybody's saying, what's new? What's new? So you're always trying to get that next new thing, and it's really fun to do.
Well, Jim, we have 3 minutes and we've got to wrap it up. So what are your final comments to all our listening audience this morning that you would like to share with everybody?
As I said earlier, that, God made you to win. Just, you're going to fall down. You're going to be going great, and you're going to fall down, and you just got to keep getting back up. God didn't say you're made to win, but don't work. You're made to win, but work like hell, and you can get to your end goal. I've found that mostly in most of the successful actors have pretty much the same idea. Anybody that's real successful knows you just got to keep plugging in. We go into great detail about the falls I've had and how I got back up and how I persevered and came back. It's unprecedented, but I did it 5 different times. I fell down 3 times and got back up. I would go into great detail in my book about it, about how to do that. But I think it's a look into the past and another generation. The 70s was exciting. The actors was great. I go in a lot of detail about that in my book, and it was fun to do. I really enjoyed it.
Well, we really enjoyed listening to you this morning. I cannot thank you and Cheryl so much for getting up so damn early in the morning to do this. And I will somehow make it up to you. I'll just be pitching your book forever. So y'all,
It was a pleasure.
Check out Big Lucky. It's our one of our Pulpwood Queen book club selections, and we just you all will be so inspired from reading it, and it's available on our website, the Pulpwood Queen shop on our website. So thank you all. I hope you get a little
Mahalo.
Thank you.
rest.
Thank
Let's
you.
keep in touch.
Thank
Let's
you.
keep in touch,
Mahalo.
Jim. Bye, everybody. We'll
guys.
see you on the
Bye.
hour. Little break. Bye-bye, Jim. Aloha.
Bye.
Aloha.